Okay, we're here today with the newest member of the real estate Avenu family, Emma Cardenas. How are you today, Emma?
I'm doing well, Gary. How are you?
Awesome. Thanks for sitting down and talking with us today.
For sure.
Let's start with your real estate journey, how you ended up sitting in this chair with us today.
So I have been thinking about real estate probably for the last 10 years. In my personal real estate venture, I have owned, I want to say like 4 houses sold, rented. I don't want to say we're flippers, but my husband and I have been getting into this thing where we buy homes that need love and we fix them up, and then we decide either if we want to rent them or keep them. And so right now we're in the process of our 4th home that we're fixing up and doing a complete remodel.
So you really know what this looks like
Yeah,
from the
for sure.
buyer side, from the investor side, and to some extent as a flipper, right?
And the seller side too.
As the seller,
Yeah.
right? Exactly. So what have you experienced during all of those processes, and how are you going to bring those things to the table in your career?
So I will say my first experience with real estate, with the real estate agent, wasn't the best. I just wasn't educated enough. And so one of the things that I want to take pride in with my customers is walking them through the process, holding their hand.
You've bought and sold quite a few properties. Good experience, bad experience? How's it been?
Not the best. My first experience was actually horrible, I will say. My husband and I ended up buying a house, and within 2 weeks of buying the house, it was covered in black mold. It was something out of a movie, and so it was definitely a very dark time. We're going to save the details and the tears for later, but it resulted in a very, very horrible experience. One main reason is because the real estate agent didn't educate me. Also, just wanted to close the deal. I mean, that was the biggest thing. He knew that I was a first-time home buyer. He knew that I was excited to buy a house, and he definitely took advantage of that. But definitely there wasn't the education piece, right? I'm young, I'm excited, I wanted to buy a house, and I bought something that was a huge loss later. So
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, very unfortunate.
A lot of agents forget about that fiduciary part of the duty, which is putting their client's best interest above themselves, right? And unfortunately, in the industry, that happens from time. So you've been on the buy side, you've been on the sell side, you've been an investor, you've property, you've pretty much seen it all from inside and out. So how are you going to translate those things over to your real estate career and when you're helping people in the market?
So one of the things I want to do is help my clients, whether it's selling, buying, or investing, and making sure that they're educated on all of the areas that they need to be educated, whether they're buying their house, whether they're selling their house, whether they're thinking about selling, whether they're thinking about buying, and just being there to help them through the process and really educate my customer base on the entire process, right? So they're well informed on every aspect of buying, selling, or investing.
Gotcha. So what's your background? Where'd you come from?
So I'm a first-gen Mexican. My parents are from Mexico. I went to your traditional school, so I have a bachelor's degree in sociology. I went to Sac State. Stingers up, go Hornets. And I originally was going to be a counselor. I ended up landing in the traditional corporate life. I did my fair share of running multiple entrepreneurship businesses, such as like when I was in college, I had a house cleaning company, so I clean houses. I have participated in multi-level marketing. I have, my husband and I own a small construction firm, a towel firm. My son owns a dog walking and dog collar business, so he's 13, so that's pretty cool. So I manage that, I'm kind of the momager for him. So I've kind of been through it all. I've been in retail, corporate world, professional world, and here I am with real estate.
Awesome. All great practice for
Totally.
skill sets that you're going to leverage in this career. Yeah, it's really important. So I hear you mention that entrepreneurship is pretty, you embrace that in your house.
Totally.
Is that the case growing up as well?
Yeah, so my dad, being that he was from Mexico, he came to the U.S. and he started his own landscaping company, and he's been doing that ever since. It's obviously grown for since the last 50 years. But he's been an entrepreneur, and my husband's an entrepreneur. His dad was an entrepreneur, so it's kind of in our blood. My daughter wants to start her clothing line, but we're not there yet. But my son definitely has a dog collar business, dog walking and dog sitting. So
awesome. And so you definitely some predisposition and embracing culture.
Yes,
entrepreneurship. It's not always the case. Sometimes it's really tough for people to get their mindset around what this looks like. But when you see it around you growing up, it helps. All right. So I ask everybody who sits in this chair, what's your why? What's the thing that's wakes you up in the morning, that gets you going, that you can't stop thinking about, that keeps you driven in this?
So the biggest thing, probably, Gary, is my parents came to this country for me to be successful, right? And what does success look like for me? Success right now looks like financial freedom and the freedom of time. So, and being able to provide all of those opportunities that I wasn't provided as a child to my kids.
Awesome. Yeah, so I've noticed that about you. You've got this like insane drive.
Yeah,
and you're like,
yeah.
you know, I need to learn that yesterday. So
Yeah,
I can get
right.
going. All right. So I love that energy that you bring. How's that going to translate with your buyers and sellers? If someone were to choose you as their agent, what can they expect?
I think they're going to expect excitement. They're going to expect someone that has grit, someone that is loyal, someone that is truthful, and at the end of the day that can, you know, be reliable, right? I think that's the biggest thing, is you want somebody reliable and someone that you can create a relationship with, right? Once you work with me, you're going to notice that it's more than just business. It's going to be more of family.
Awesome.
Yeah, if you want.
So you had a lot of options of where you wanted to start your career and build your career. What made you choose us here at Avenu and EXP?
So I did sit down with a couple brokerages and I asked questions. The first thing that I loved, especially Gary, you were super responsive. And I think being in the time that we're in, responsiveness is huge, right? We've got two ends of the spectrum, folks that aren't responsive at all and folks that are too responsive. You were perfect timing, you're responsive, you asked my questions, and you're literally willing to sit down very quickly. Also, one of the things that I loved is that you guys are allowing me to be kind of doing my own organic marketing, right? So you're not telling me I've got to meet someone for beers every Thursday, or I've got to do this, or set a certain image. You're kind of letting me be on my own and letting me create those relationships the way I have, and so you're not dictating that. And you guys are also available and providing all of the tools that I possibly need. I mean, one of the tools that we have, I don't know if I'm supposed to share it, we use one, Lofty. I'm super excited about Lofty because that one is going to help with creating, instead of the good old Google spreadsheet, we're going to be using Lofty, and I'm super excited. I think that's going to take the business to the next level.
Me too.
Yeah.
Because we're, in all honesty,
Yeah.
I don't say we're learning it together. I'm
Yeah.
a few steps ahead
Yeah.
of you, but quite frankly, it's a very robust system.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's so much to learn in there, but once you nail it, it's so automated
Yeah.
and it has so many little facets to it
Yeah.
we're still learning about. So that's awesome. You're bilingual.
I am.
It's awesome. So you can serve that section of the community, right?
Right, and I think it's more than being bilingual, right? I mean, I can learn, I think I was joking a little bit ago about learning another language, but I think it's also being able to connect with my Latino community, right? Especially when we have the first-time home buyers, especially when we have our, parents that have been sitting in a home for years and don't understand the market. I think it's important to understand that cultural base, not just knowing the language, it's knowing, mi gente, la raza.
That's awesome. That's always a huge plus for anyone.
Right.
To be able to tap into their organic community.
Right.
So that's great. Okay, and so if people want to work with you, how can they get a hold of you? Obviously, we're going to get you set up.
Right. All right. They can
What's the best
text me.
mode? Text
me.
So
text me in a house emoji, and I will know that you want to buy or sell your house. So yeah, for sure, they can text me. That's the best way to get a hold of me.
Awesome. Well, I thank you so much for sitting down with us. I'm super excited.
I am
to
too.
launch with us, and I know we're going to do great things in 2024.
Yeah, heck yeah.
So yeah.
Let's go.
Thanks.